New here signing in. Snoo is here with his very first episode of Entitled Parents. Before we get to the real meat of this episode, let me give you overview of this video. In this episode we will find out how 12-year-old kid tried to kiss a girl, and in response the girl was sweet enough to not slap him, although kid ended up getting what he deserved. And why one mom told her kid to get into strangers' home and use their computer without any permission. Also how you can become gay by visiting Starbucks. All of these hilarious stories coming your way right now. Before we get started, there is a rumor for every subscriber we get a new kitten is born, so don't forget to subscribe to your very own Snoo. Okay, some background. This happened when I was 17 in high school. I was attending an anime convention at the time. I was dressed as Chibiusa from Sailor Moon as I loved that show at the time. On the second day of the convention I was walking around. Of course, if you cosplay at an anime convention you're gonna get asked for pictures a lot. I didn't mind, I loved taking photos with people. Some asked for me to pose, others just a selfie. Then in the middle of the day is when entitled mother and her son showed up and the conversation went like this.
Hi, would you mind if my son takes a picture with you, miss?
Sure, I don't mind. The son, about 12 or 13 I'd say, stands next to me. I expect him to put an arm on my shoulder or pose. This isn't what happened. Instead the kid grabs me and try to kiss and grope me. At this I immediately push him off of me. What the hell are you doing?
Oh come on, let him kiss you, there's no harm in it.
No, I'm not kissing some random stranger.
Mom, you said she would be my girlfriend.
At this I am massively freaked out.
Oh come on, he just wants to brag he has a girlfriend.
No, leave me alone. I try to leave when suddenly she grabs my hand and tries to pull me back.
Come on, it's one kiss, it's not gonna hurt you.
Leave me the hell alone, weirdo.
Fine, beach be that way. I wouldn't want my son with some F-W like you.
At this I walk off, hearing her cuss at me the whole way out of the little booth. Later that day I see her and her son again. Both are being escorted by security out of the convention. Apparently the son groped another woman but she slapped him, and the mother had a fist fight with him, and from what I was told, she lost. This kid is the perfect example of ex-offender in the making. Snoo's mom would have slapped him if he had tried that type of thing with a girl. I was 12, my parents moved us to a new place. Our neighbors were unpleasant. There were the entitled mother and father, never met him, can't call him entitled, with two sons. One was 13 and the other was about 8 or 9. The older brother was a decent guy, we were school bus pals, but the younger one was an issue. But looking back on it, he probably had a social disorder like Asperger's or perhaps ADHD. My mom did not like this kid. A few incidents happened before with him and my mom nicknamed him the orange-haired goblin. I'll call him OG. This story is told from my mother's perspective, as she dealt with entitled mother. Despite this happening over 10 years ago, I do remember that it happened, but the written dialogue here is pulled from my mother's retelling of the story, so there's a tad of embellishment. This was in the day of dial-up in my country. It was fantastic. My mom and I had a system where I'd quickly load a flash game with a heads up, then disconnect from the internet and plug the phone back in. It was the school holidays, so it was just my mom and I at home when dad was at work, so it was an otherwise empty house when this happened.
Op, you're supposed to give a heads up when you're unplugging the phone. I need to make a call.
I'm not on the computer though, I'm outside. Mom pokes her head out the kitchen window, sees me, looks confused, then turns around. She and I have the same idea, so we both head to the room with the computer, and we find OG.
Excuse me, what are you doing?
My mom told me I could use your computer.
Why don't you use yours?
Despite hating this kid, my mother is not unreasonable. She's not going to get annoyed with 8 to 9-year-old. I broke it.
Well, I'm sorry if she can't decide that. You have to ask for permission. Besides, you can't let yourself in our house anyway. You can finish the game, but I need to plug the phone back in so you can't load anything else.
Mom then gives me a look that meant keep an eye on him. She later told me she didn't want him to break our computer if he indeed broke his own, so she needed me to keep an eye on him. OG then leaves, then 10 minutes later we hear a knock on the door. I go to answer but my mom gets there first.
OG told me you won't let him on your computer. Sorry, who? My son. Oh right, the kid who let himself in. He told me you told him he could use my computer. Why is that? His was broken and I needed to entertain him. So that makes it okay? I wouldn't have minded letting him if you had just discussed it with me first. He's an angel, there's no harm in him using it. Clearly there is if he broke his one. At this point, entitled mother must have been getting annoyed. I heard this part for myself as she started shouting very loudly. He only broke his keyboard, he spilled his drink IT. It's safe for him to use yours because he learned his lesson. Still doesn't give him or you the right to come and go as you please and use our property without permission. But you said you would have let him, so what's the problem? My problem is a strange kid I barely know just walked into my house and used my computer because his mother said he could. If that's how you treat your neighbors, then you or your children aren't welcome here anymore.
My mom then slammed the door, and that was the last we heard from Em, though she'd stare at us if she saw us leave the house. My mom would make jokes about the kid if she saw him in the street, like crap it's the orange-haired goblin, remember to lock the door. When school resumed, I was talking to the older brother on the school bus. He told me that his mother asked him to steal our keyboard if he ever comes around again. He understood his mother was a wackadoodle, so we just had a laugh about it. That entitled mother need to fix her brain. I doubt if it is at the right place. You just can't tell your kid to break into stranger's house and start using their computer. I feel bad for kid because I think he just listened to her mother, as we all do. I want you guys to tell me your thoughts on this one in the comments. So a little context first, I'm bisexual. Oh really? Meaning, if you don't know, where have you been for the past 10 years? I date girls and boys, I'm a male. I was, for the time, dating a cool guy. We resolved to drink some coffee, so we got to an off-brand Starbucks. I'm really open about being bi, so I don't mind holding hands or kissing in public. Now to the story. Me and my date were on a table on the corner of the OBS, off-brand Starbucks, and we just ordered. We talked a bit, I don't remember what he said, but was a cute thing, so I kissed him, just a peck on his lips. We didn't know that a family of really easy offended people were on our side. They didn't like our gayness. A middle-aged woman with a kid and a small bald man come to our table. Excuse me. Her tone was so sweetly fake that I became diabetic.
Could you please not do that in public?
I knew what she was talking about, but to be sure, I feigned ignorance. Do what, madam? She rolled her eyes as if I was an idiot.
Kissing in public.
Why I would. This is a public place, and I don't think the owner is against people kissing, I told her in a calm manner, putting a hand on my date's hand. He was gay, and really didn't like prejudice. He was short-tempered too, so I needed to calm him down. It's not all the people, just. He let the phrase hang on the air, but after awkward silence, seeing that neither of us would complete the phrase, he said, "Gay people." My date looked angry, but I squeezed his hand and said, "You know, what you're doing is a crime, and if you don't get out off my face now, I will call the cops," I said in my firm but calm voice. The entitled mother did not like my response.
What you are doing is a crime in the eyes of God.
I think God would be more offended by you being a bigoted idiot, than he would be offended by me being gay. The manager had come to aid us. He heard the entire thing and kindly told them to get out of the OBS. The family grumbled but exited the building. He asked us if we were okay and apologized for that family. Now for the fun part. You thought that the entitled parents were mad because their young child seeing a gay couple? Wrong. Later that day I received a message from a girl that I dated some months prior. We didn't click but were cool about that, begging me to forgive her parents about the incident. Yep, the entitled couple were the parents of this girl, and they were mad at me for not dating their daughter and more mad when discovered that I was bi. In other words, trading her, their princess, for a man. So they approached my person with the intention of harassing my date and I told her that it wasn't her fault, and it was cool. Moral of the story, if you want to be gay, go to a Starbucks, not an off-brand. How the hell that guy did not know that they were her girlfriend parents? Story sounds fake to me. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. About a year ago, I was running a small video game tournament in the small company I owned. The wait list had a full list of 16 people, and it was fine until one person ruined it for all. So we were starting up the games when a dad ran into the store with his son. "We're here for the tournament." "Oh sorry, but the list is full." "Well then, make some room." "I can't do that." "Listen, I can get you fired with the push of a button." "How?" "I have been friends with the CEO of this company for a long time." "Then call him." I watch him make a fake phone call then hang up. He says you're fired. That's funny, considering I am the CEO. Entitled parents' look of shock still makes me laugh to this day. This was a good story and short and straight to the point, but I disagree with the intro of the story because there was not a single point in the story where I thought entitled parent ruined CEO's day. I would rather say he made his day, giving him good reason to laugh. Sometimes parents are so much into their kids' happiness that they get ready to go to any level for them, which is fine unless they don't cross the limits, as in first two stories they definitely crossed the limits, and for some extent in third one. I hope you enjoyed our very first episode of Entitled Parents. Thanks for watching your very own Snoo video. Support your Snow with push of the finger on the like button and share this video with your friends. Your Snoo is signing out.